All right, I think we're good. I think we're live. I think we're rocking and rolling here. Google Meet is weird. It said your recording will start in a moment, but it didn't tell me when the moment was beginning. So what's up, everybody? Happy Saturday, Grand Rising. Welcome to. Oh man, I have the wrong slide up. What a great way to start today's masterclass. Welcome to our masterclass on movement snacks, right? We talk about movement snacks a lot. They're all over the app. They're all over our social media pages. So we're going to dive deep into it today. This is going to be some snackable movement masterclass, movement for the mind, body, and soul. This is going to be one of those workshops where we're about integrating and elevating our lives with this information. We're about integrating this information into our lives and elevating our vibrational frequency with the information through our action. So let's get started here. But before we do, cheers. Again, happy Saturday. I'm glad you're all here to join me. If you're watching this on the replay or if you're watching live, drop a comment on the replay. If you're watching this live, drop it in the in what do they call it? The in meeting chat. I don't know what it's called on Google, but just drop in the comment. Let us know how are you feeling today. How are you feeling? How are you showing up mentally, emotionally, energetically, physically? Let us know. Drop a comment down below. This is going to be a fun workshop. I'm very excited to share this information with you and dive deeper into it. I'm already getting the chills. This is going to be a good one. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let's get started. Snackable movement. Oh, I got to present it. Snackable Movement Masterclass. Boom. There we go. And there we go. Movement for the mind, body, and soul. Let's get into it. Who's ready for this? I know I am. Let's start. Let's just take a mental note. You don't have to write this down. This doesn't mean take a literal note. This means like just take a mental note. All notes will be available to the community upon completion of this presentation. So after the workshop today, I will be posting the link, as I always do, in the Discord server. I forget the name of the channel on there already, but you guys know where it's going to be. We are recording this. There should be a logo somewhere on your screen, so you should be aware of this already, but we are recording this, so the replay will be available for you upon completion as well. Or, well, actually, it's probably going to be like a week, so it's not going to be up right away. But if you want to review this information, the replay will be available to you. So now, let's just I'm getting jittery and antsy, so let's just stop, and we're going to set an intention here. But let's just take a deep breath in. And release it. I'm really pumped. My nerves are like through the roof today. I'm fucking here for it. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it on the screen, but my eyes are tearing up a little bit. I'm really pumped. All right, let's do this. All right, today's intention is improvement through movement. You know, when I was personal training, I just want to kind of give you guys a little backstory on this intention. When I was personal training, it was one of the core values that I was teaching my clients. Was just the idea of improvement through movement. One, I love rhymes, easier to remember. Two, this notion really spoke to where I was at on my own spiritual journey at the time, because I was very much in a place of like, I gotta do. I wasn't moving from that energy of it's an inside out game, right? So I was more focused on outside in. But this idea, now our intention behind this isn't going to be the same thing as where I was moving from at the time. But this idea helped me recognize the power of movement, right? When we're like, you know, you're sitting down, you're at work, maybe you're typing your stuff, sending emails, whatever, and you just feel a lot of anxiety. Or if you're at home, maybe you're watching television, you're with the family or something like that, or you're with your partner and like you're just chilling and you're getting anxious and antsy for no reason. There's a good chance there's some stagnant, stuck energy in here. So this idea of improvement through movement is like we can literally just get up. I don't know if this is Mike's gonna bounce around, but or make noises, but like you just start jiggling it around, you know, just start moving your body a little bit. And now we are improving the quality of our life in real time by just moving our bodies a little bit. Our bodies are just a phenomenal tool for elevating our vibrational frequency, for transcending old emotions, for, you know, what was the other thing I had? For, you know, magnetizing the reality that we deserve into the now. So yeah. Okay. So I want you to affirm this with me. And I want you to if you're here with us today, I want you to type this in the live chat. If you're watching on the replay, I want you to type a comment down below. I want you to affirm this with me. Affirm this with me and say it out loud. Obviously, you're not on a mic like I am, so we're not gonna hear you, but typing it out is just, we're getting our senses involved. We're birthing this affirmation into existence. If you're watching on replay, same thing. And I also want you to speak it out loud to yourself so you can hear your own voice say it. Affirm this with me. I am choosing to use this information to alchemize the stagnant energy into vibrant life force through each movement, creating a life of purpose and fulfillment. Affirm that shit with me. Come on now, let's go. Come on. I am choosing to use this information to alchemize stagnant, that stored, stuck energy, the emotions, the energetic emotions of the past. We're going to take that, we're going to alchemize that stagnant energy through movement into vibrant life force energy through each movement, creating a life of purpose and fulfillment. It does not matter where you're at in your life today. It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter if you have 3 days left or 35 years left. You can live every moment from here on out with intention, with purpose, and feeling fulfilled. And that is what we are affirming today. So drop it in the comments, drop it in the live chat, and affirm it to yourself. Cheers. I am also not just hydrating, I'm caffeinating. All right, so some of the key takeaways. So kind of what we're going to be going through here today is we're going to be understanding the science behind movement snacks and their benefits, right? We're going to discover different types of movement snacks tailored to various needs and body areas. Now, this can get extremely nuanced, extremely fast, and the nerd in me, the fascination with the human body within me can go on tangents forever. So if you guys have like very nuanced questions, feel free to ask them. If it's something that I feel like will take us too far down a rabbit hole, we will discuss it in our next one-on-one meeting, or you and I can discuss it outside of the confines of today's masterclass. But yeah, because we can, like, you guys have seen the app, all the mobility stuff, like there is so many rabbit holes. We can go down so many different modalities that we can explore. But we are going to explore some of those. We're going to learn how to integrate these snacks into our daily routines effectively. You know, we're not trying to overload our nervous system with information and new things to do, right? We want to do this in a sustainable and understandable fashion that meets our needs without overloading them. And we're going to explore the spiritual and metaphysical significance of movement as a form of energy work. That's exciting. I am pumped. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into it. What are movement snacks? When we talk about movement snacks, what are we talking about? We're talking about intentional bursts of physical activity designed to break up sedentary periods. And we are going to do this today because I have been sitting for about 15 minutes and I'm sick of it. These energize the body and enhance overall well-being. You know, I mean, we can get that. Like, let's think about this for a moment. Like, what is it about exercise that changes our physical state, our physiological state? It is the activity leading to a neurochemical change, which has a downstream effect on the rest of our physiology, right? So our body is following the neurochemical cocktail that is being released in our brain, meaning that neurochemical cocktail is changing the chemistry of our brain, and then by association changing the physiological response from our body, putting us in a different state of being, right? So what we're talking about here is the endorphin rush, right? You get the runner's high or something, right? That endorphin rush is changing your physiological state. And we can do that with simple bursts of movement. Like maybe you're not anxious or overwhelmed at work or anything like that, but you can feel stiff and you're like, I'm getting a little antsy. Get up, slosh yourself around a little bit, and then get back to work. You're gonna feel better. All right. We want to integrate into daily routines and require that. And sorry, these are something we integrate into our daily routines, and they require no special equipment or extensive time commitment, like a workout, right? So this is different than a workout, because I already see a question popping up that is like, what's the difference between this and a workout? And if we don't answer that throughout the workshop here, I will come back to it during the Q&A section. So why do we want to do movement stacks, right? Our bodies are biologically designed for movement. And you may be asking, like, what do you mean? Okay, so what I mean is, like, you look at some of your joints and the way the capacity of function they have. Your shoulder, right? Whether you have the range of motion I'm moving through or not, at some point in your life you did. Because when you were like 5 years old, you didn't have the mobility restrictions that you walk around with today. So with that being said, because our shoulders are super mobile, our hips, see, I already told you, like I was going to get antsy and like I needed to move. Our hips have all of this range of motion. We're biologically designed for movement. Let's think about this from an evolutionary biology perspective for a moment. If we're in like the 1300s, right? We're hunting for our food. We're what's the word I'm looking for here? You know, we're picking apples from trees, foraging for food. Regardless if we're like eating more plant-based or if we're hunting for like an animal, we need our bodies to be physically capable to find the food. If we're reaching shit off, we're grabbing shit off of trees, we need to be able to reach up. We need that range of motion in the shoulder, right? If we're hunting, like, you know, maybe we design a bow and arrow, like you need mobility for that. You want to throw a spear, right? You need to fight a fucking tiger. Right? You need your body to be physically capable. So biologically speaking, especially from an evolutionary standpoint, we are designed for movement. But in our modern world today, which we're going to get to, I believe, on the next slide, we are removed from that. We don't need these things. You can drive to the grocery store and pick up, you know, the dead animal you would have hunted, or grab some apples from a basket that's like, you know, waist level rather than from a tree. You know what I mean? So it's like we're removed from that now, but our bodies are still capable of the same things. The reason we no longer have those capabilities is because we don't utilize them. We don't need to. So we have to find ways to utilize those capabilities outside of the confines that we would have used them 1,000 years ago, right? Constant sitting can keep our nervous system in a persistent fight or flight state. So we're in a constant state of stress. And like, let's think about this for a moment. Okay, so let me finish this first, because like I have a really bad habit to do this. So this constant state of fight or flight can lead to an increase in stress and diminished well-being. Right. So let's think about this. We're in this seated position, not a bad position. It's not inherently wrong, right? Is it ideal for your body? Questionable. But we're sitting down, we're typing on the computer, we're doing our thing. And what we're doing here is, you know, in order to maintain this upright posture, it's a little bit more challenging. But it's easier when we're standing. It's easier when we're standing because we have our legs, our hips, the powerhouse of our body underneath of us, giving us structure. It's like, I don't know if y'all can see this. This is like one of the support beams in my apartment here. I'm in the basement, by the way. Without that bad boy, this thing would come down. And I don't know about y'all, but like if I'm living down here, I want them to be foundationally strong, right? So, and because it's at the bottom, it needs to be able to support the weight of the house. Same thing with our lower extremities. The hips are the powerhouse of the body. And so when we're standing, we have a lot of our strength underneath of us, or a lot of our foundational strength underneath us to help us maintain a good position. But when we sit down, we're compromising that because we're putting the hips in a flex position, you know, like meaning, you know, we're flexing the hips. So like this is the body, right? Like now we're flexing the hips, you know, knees closer to the chest. And that's putting our hips in a compromised position. I use that word loosely. And when the hips are in this shortened position, right, we're in a sense activating the muscles, and that activation of the muscles is going to put us in a state of fight or flight. because muscle activation is necessary in a state of fight or flight. Because again, evolutionary biologically speaking, back in the day, we want our muscles to fire up and be active when we're hunting or foraging or trying to take on the elements, the rain, the snow, things like that. Not even just that, but like we can't maintain this position all the time. Maybe we don't have the strength, whatever it is. We're collapsing in, right? We're in this forward rounded position. This is collapsing our chest in, and this is collapsing the diaphragm down. Now, in order to get out of fight or flight, we talked about this kind of thing in our breath work workshop. If you haven't watched that one yet, after this, please go check that out. Not right now. Deep diaphragmatic breathing is how we can get out of the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic, said differently, out of fight or flight into rest and digest. So big deep breath. Then we're using that diaphragm, right? But when the diaphragm is compromised like this, now we're losing the ability to take those deep diaphragmatic breaths, keeping us in that state of fight or flight. So if you're dealing with a lot of anxiety, dealing with chronic stress and overwhelmness, even when things aren't bad, like you're just sitting at work chilling, you got nothing to do, and you're like, I'm anxious for no reason. What's going on here? You could be, and you can start to do all of the inner work we talk about, right? Do the healing, you do the mindset work, you rework your story, you reframe your situation, you do all that stuff, and it doesn't work. Why? Well, you're fighting your physiology, your biology. Your body's designed to move. So instead of going through the motions of writing down how I'm feeling, working through that stuff, like just move your body and see what happens. Right? So by incorporating movement snacks into our day, we honor this natural and biological need to move, right? We stay energized, we keep our minds clear, we keep sharp, and maintain a healthy balance, even in a modern sedentary world, sedentary lifestyle, right? Cheers. Cheers to that. So let's talk about modern life and the need to move and groove. I want to say this, like I phrase it this way for myself because like I've found myself like dancing more in life, and I don't mean like I'm like cutting a meanness rug, but like I'll be at work operating the machine I'm working on right now, and I have a good song on, there's a nice rhythm to it, I'm just like I'm swaying back and forth. It's like the need to move and groove. This is why I got out of fitness culture and the fitness community, because it's very stagnant. It's very box oriented. You walk into a gym, everyone's doing the curls, the presses, squats. They're phenomenal. I love them. I love doing a nice curl. I love a nice arm pump. I love watching the veins on my arms bulge because I'm just getting the venous pump. My biceps look juicy. I love it. And we have the capacity to move in so many different ways, right? So like you look at dancing for a moment, or like gymnasts, like they move so eloquently in so many different planes of motion, right? Their bodies, the capabilities are just phenomenal. It shatters the fabric of what I believe to be even possible, not just for humanity, but for myself. Right, so okay, let's get back to this. So modern life is the need to move and groove. Obesity rate comparison for a moment, all right? In 1960, roughly 13% of people were considered obese, right? In 2020, approximately 42.4% of US adults are classified as obese. That's nearly a 30% increase in, 60 years. That's wild, y'all. Like, and here's why it's wild. It's wild because we're talking about all the technological advancements in that 60-year period, all the medicines, right? All the information we have today, right? All the biohacking, all the supplements. How many gyms do you see out there today versus the 1960s? If you are alive today and you were around the 1960s, if you could drop a comment or post in the chat the differences, that'd be great. But just to put it in context, like that's a nearly 30% increase in obesity rates. What gives? We have more information, we have more tools, right? We have the coaches, the trainers, the nutritionists. We have all of these things, and yet these rates are still climbing. Now, I'm not saying it's just because we're sitting all the time, but it's a factor. This is a multifactorial situation, right? It's not like obesity climbed that much just because we're sitting all the time. There's so many things going on, right? Like our energy is being sucked out of us, and we are being fear mongered by the media, right? That doesn't help us, right? So like we have that. Then there's food quality. That's really taking a shit, right? So there's so many factors to go into this. And I want to talk to this because like this one was kind of like near and dear to me. Not because I was an obese child, but like I just see children overweight, and it's like that it's a shame to see. So childhood obesity comparisons from 1976 to 1980 to 2007 and 2008. Among preschool children ages 2 to 5, obesity increased from 5% to 10.5%. Right now, what we're talking about here is under a 30-year difference, and that's 2 to 5-year-olds. 2 to 5-year-olds. Another reason this is near and dear to me is because I have 2 nephews. One is going to be 4 in a few months, and one is going to be 1 in a few weeks. So, and unfortunately, my sister and her husband aren't the most health oriented, I'll say. Among 6 to 11-year-olds, obesity increased from 6.5% to 19.6%. And among adolescents, so preteens and teenagers, obesity increased from 5 to 18.1% during the same period. Those are staggering numbers for children who are naturally energetic and want to move and explore and exercise. I mean, not exercise in the way we look at it, but they just naturally move their bodies more. Now, watch my little nephew. He's the one who's going to be 1 in a few weeks here. And the other day, I went over there to just say happy birthday to my parents, and he's just crawling around the ground. Like he crawled up to the dog water dish. There's 2 dogs at the house, and so there's a big water dish. It's like this big. I don't know if that doesn't really help. And he's just crawling around, and he's just like exploring things, putting shit in his mouth. Like my older nephew, same thing, putting shit in his mouth. It's just like climbing things and seeing what he's capable of, and it's just really really cool to see. But and we're talking about young minds that haven't been warped by the conditioning of society like we've been, that we are transcending right now, right? And who naturally want to explore and move, and yet these numbers are from the CDC. I put it in during the obesity rate comparison, but this is also the childhood obesity from the CDC too. So a nationally or government recognized entity is putting these numbers out there. Anybody can find this information, right? So these numbers are staggering, right? So there's a huge need to move our bodies more, right? The sharp rise in obesity rates. So like what can we conclude from this, right? The sharp rise in obesity rates are over this time period underscores the significant impact of sedentary lifestyles. Again, not the main reason, but one of many. While sedentary behavior is not the sole cause of obesity, it is a major contributor, highlighting the need for increased physical activity as a crucial component of effective weight management and holistic wellness, right? All right, so like, what are some of the benefits? You know, because again, we're talking our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. We don't want to just put this in a box and be like, oh, well, this is going to help your metabolism. No, it's not just going to. I mean, yes, it's going to help your metabolism, but it's just going to help so many areas of your life. So why put it in a vacuum and only look at it one way? Let's look at it all ways. So what kind of benefits are we looking at here from our physical health? Well, this can help improve your circulation. We're talking blood circulation, right? Like maybe you have joint pain. You got joint pain, maybe you got ankle issues, knee issues, right? And you're sedentary. Well, you can do some targeted movement snacks for the knees and the lower extremities specifically to get more blood flow in there. Now, why do we want to do this? We want to do this because when blood flow gets to the area that you have joint pain, or let's say this differently, inflammation, the blood flow carries the nutrients necessary for your body to heal. And I want you to feel right now, like, okay, I'm sitting down, I can't really feel my toes as much. So let's stop for a moment. Let's take a deep breath. You can stay seated, or you can stand up if you want. Standing up. Use your words, Tyler. Come on. Standing up will probably add a benefit to this, but just take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, I want you to think about moving the energy into your fingertips and the tips of your toes. And we're going to do that 3 times. So And if you have any kind of joint pain, on the next inhale and exhale, I want you to focus on that area. Like I've been having some tweaky right knee issues. I'm just going to focus on my right knee now. Not focus on the pain, but just focus on moving the energy flow to the area. So we can improve our circulation. I mean, we could do that just through the breath alone, but we're talking about movement snacks here. So it can also increase energy levels. It can increase our energy levels from a physicality standpoint. You feel lethargic. You feel like I don't want to do nothing. Do a quick movement snack and tell me your energy levels aren't going to increase. Tell me your energy levels aren't going to increase. We talked about it earlier already, but that endorphin rush you're going to get, that's immediately going to change your physiology. Energy levels are going to go up with that. It can enhance your metabolism, right? So like, oh shit, sorry, technical malfunction. Well, how can this enhance your metabolism? Well, one of the reasons your metabolism has slowed down as you age, sure, age is a factor, but let's not go down the limitations of age for a moment. Let's not go down that rabbit hole, and let's remove the belief that age is the reason your metabolism is slowing down. Is it a factor? Just like obesity rates in our modern era, yes, it's a factor, but it's not the only culprit. This can enhance your metabolism because the reason your metabolism slows down is because you're not utilizing energy well. Your body isn't. Your body isn't utilizing the energy from food well. Well, why is that? Well, you're sitting all the time. So your body's adapting. The human body is an adaptation machine, the brain with it. And so if you're not moving your body much, your brain, your body, the life force energy, the intelligence within the human body is so, I told you all, the nerd in me is kind of coming out. I feel the tangents coming. It's so beautiful because it adapts to the way you're living your life on its own. You're not telling it to do anything. It's not like, you're sitting more and you're like, hey, body, I need you to slow down my metabolism so I can gain some weight. No. That's not it at all. We don't even want to gain weight. We don't want our metabolism to slow down. The innate intelligence within your body is adapting to your circumstances from, again, an evolutionary biological perspective for a moment, because your body is adapting to survive. And so since you're not expending as much energy, your metabolism is naturally going to slow down. How can we change that? Move more, groove more. You know what I mean? Even if it's like something like fidgeting, the knee twitch and when you're sitting at work or whatever. And last but not least, we can reduce muscle stiffness. Again, we talked about blood flow. Same idea. Mental health. We're talking about enhanced cognitive function. Okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath for myself. Okay. I mean, when we talk about the mental side of it, if we're not moving our bodies so much, then movement can enhance our cognitive function through the breakup of all of these thought patterns. Right? You become indecisive or overwhelmed. It's like, just move your body for a moment. Move that stagnant energy, which kind of comes to, the spiritual side of things. But, it can enhance our cognitive function because we are moving that stuck energy. We're getting out. This is my favorite way to put this. We're getting out of our minds and into our bodies. You're becoming more embodied in real time just through movement alone. Or we talk about these things. We want to embody the energy of the wish fulfilled. We talk about embodying the energy of the desires that we have. Right. So like if you're here, you're looking to, of course, heal emotionally and shift your vibrational frequency, but also like this is about your health too. Like you want to lose some weight, right? Like, well, okay, I want to lose 20 pounds. Well, the 20-pound less version of you is more joyful, more energetic, happier, all those things. So what does that energy feel like? You feel into that for a moment and you begin to embody it. And then like an hour from now, you go back into your anxious ways of thinking, right? Well, movement is one way to get out of those anxious ways of thinking or anxious ways of being or stress patterns, because we in real time can begin to embody a different energy. Said differently, we can shift our physiological state, right? It can help, like I just said, stress and anxiety reduction, right? Because if we're stuck in anxious thought patterns, we're likely stuck in the past. We're focused on some emotional pattern through thought from the past. And we're not in the now. We're not in the present moment. Movement is one way to bring ourselves back to here and now. So let's do that for a moment, because I feel like I need to do it. I finally calmed myself back down, but I'm going to take this off so it doesn't bang around. So I want you to stand up with me for a moment. Let's stand up. I don't care what the fuck you do. I don't care what you do. You can slosh yourself around. You can just do some squats. You can just do some leg swings. We're going to get a quick little movement snack in. I'm going to set a timer on my phone. We're going to do this for a minute. I'm going to dance a little bit. I'm going to do some weird dance moves. All right. So in like 9 seconds, we'll get started. But we're going to do whatever the hell you want. Like, feel into your body. Stop, take a deep breath in, close your eyes, drop into your heart, and just like, okay, what kind of movement would feel good right now? Your mind might be like, oh, this is going to be stupid. This is going to be silly. I'm going to look silly. I feel stupid. Let that be there and do it anyway. We are about to embody more of the energy of the wish we have, the desires we deserve, right? All right, so now I'm going to restart this. Let's do this. Whatever comes to mind, whatever feels right, just move your body. You can dance, you can jump, you can tap, you can do some tapping, you can do some squats, like whatever feels right, okay? And go. Okay. Move the hips. Oh, that's a good one. Move your hips, because we got a lot of trauma in the hips. Store a lot of trauma in the hips. So wiggle that ass. I can't twerk yet, but but here we go. Everyone's getting a little bit of a show from me today. Good thing is camera quality, isn't it, good? Working up a sweat with this coffee. I should have put a song on. 20 more seconds, y'all. Spin around too. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. All right. Drop a comment. Drop it in the live chat. How you feeling now? How you feeling? I feel way better now. I'm getting the chills again. Whoo. Feel way better. I feel less antsy. I feel less antsy. So that's cool. All right. And last but not least, when it comes to our mental health, it can improve mental clarity. Can improve mental clarity. You know, again, you have these anxious thought patterns. You get up, you do a 2-minute movement snack or a minute one like we just did. And now you can think a little bit more clearly. So now I'm going to be a little more focused and less with the tangents. It's like, now emotional health, it can improve our mood, which really kind of goes with a lot of the mental side of things, but it can improve our mood, like we talked about the improvement in physiology, the brain chemicals. That's the improvement move we're talking about here. So you can see now how it has all 3 of these are interconnected. Helps with emotional regulation. You know, maybe you're feeling. Sometimes when I began on my journey, I couldn't tell what I was feeling. Like I was emotionally disconnected. I could tell I was feeling something negative, but I couldn't tell what it was. And so just moving my body real quick, getting some of that energy flowing throughout my body would help me regulate my emotions better, so that I could, in a sense, grab a hold of what I was feeling. Like, oh my God, that was shame. Whoa. And now I knew what to anticipate moving forward. Right? So then it helped me with emotional regulation. And it can help boost self-esteem. How can I do that? Well, you know, we know exercise, stuff like that helps with weight loss, building muscle, stuff like that. So, by the shifting in the way your body appears, that can have an effect on the mind for sure. But also, again, the chemicals in our brain that are released when we move around a lot. The physiological state that occurs takes us out of stress and overwhelmness and into a better state of being. And just to kind of illustrate this a little bit, how did you feel before we did our 1-minute movement snack? And how do you feel now? Personally, I feel a little bit more calm. Again, like less antsy. Yeah. All right, now let's talk about spiritual health. So this can increase our mindfulness. Now, why is this important? Because that kind of sounds like a mindset related thing. And in a way it is, but everything is spiritual, isn't it? Life is spiritual. The coffee I'm drinking is spiritual. Because when we get out of our heads and into our bodies, we can notice the thoughts going by a little bit more and not grab a hold of them and stay attached to them. Get out of our heads and into our bodies, we can notice the thoughts going by a little bit more instead of grabbing a hold of all of them. Because that's really where the friction, the tension, the anxiousness comes from, is when we have these thought patterns that show up, emotional patterns. It really comes down to the feeling and then the thoughts. So it's like feelings then thoughts. We grab a hold of them and then we attach our identity to them. And now it's like, that's who we are. No. Move your body a little bit. It's like, I am not the anxious thought pattern. I am the now. I am the moment. The thought pattern, the emotional pattern, the anxious pattern is just showing up right now. Fact. It can enhance the connection to yourself, right? Because there's so many parts to the self, right? Like, who is Tyler Egan? I mean, Tyler Egan is who my parents think I am, who you all think I am, who I say I am, right? Like what social media thinks I am. But I am just this moment, right? I can hear Tyler speaking in my mind. I can hear my inner child. I can hear the inner critic, right? I can hear the higher self. It's all happening in this moment through me. Movement, getting out of our head into our bodies, can connect us to that self a little bit more. Because we're getting out of the thought patterns, out of one singular identity of the self, and into the now where we can see all of the selves. And it can support it's support for spiritual practices. Connecting to the body is just as much a spiritual practice as meditation. Getting out of the head and into the body supports all of our spiritual practices because it gives us a different avenue to observe thought, to observe emotion, to see it in a different perspective, to connect with ourselves, to connect with the body and its capabilities and its limitations. Because there's two sides to that, right? So let's talk about the mechanism of movement snacks. I've kind of already hit on these a little bit, but this will be a brief overview because I am rambling a little bit too much here. So let's talk about movement activation. Movement activates multiple body systems, improving circulation, metabolic function, and overall physical health. Which we're probably going to get to in a moment. Yeah, the mental stimulation, physical movement stimulates brain activity, like the endorphin rush, right? Enhancing cognitive function and mental clarity while reducing stress and anxiety. Even though we're moving our bodies, and even though we talk about the mind as a separate entity from the body, they're not really separate at all, are they? And so we can't separate them. Therefore, physical movement is going to influence brain activity. Emotional regulation, the stimulation of brain activity, again, same thing here. We can't separate any of these areas of wellness, although we do it all the time. The stimulation of brain activity through movement triggers endorphins, a hormone, to release, balancing mood and helps with emotional regulation and supports overall emotional well-being. I mean, this isn't just about the endorphin rush. I mean, this comes from all different hormones like oxytocin and serotonin and things of that nature, which come from different areas, and we'll, again, no tangent there. And the spiritual connection. This in turn fosters a deeper connection to the body, lending itself to a deeper connection to source, right? Because our body is a subsection of source, right? Our body is a fragment of source energy, leading to a deeper spiritual growth, insight, and healing. All right, so let's talk about some techniques. As you can see up on the screen over here, we have, the app. We have all of our movement snacks. Some of these are going to be like exercise oriented, but they're not limited to that. We got up for a minute and we sloshed our bodies around. We danced for a minute. It doesn't matter. Like, you can do desk stretches and chair yoga, right? If you're at work. And if you guys want us to, if you have suggestions for movement snacks, in the app, there is a place where you can do your own movement snack. And if you don't even do any of the exercises that we offer in here, and you do like chair yoga you found on YouTube, you can leave a comment there and we can start adding those things in for y'all. So feel free to do that. You can do some simple bodyweight movements, squats, lunges, stretches, right? We were talking about desk stretches, but so many different things. And the movement snacks in the app have all kinds of things. You can use workout tools and equipment. So our MME workout criteria, which we'll kind of do a couple examples after this. You do a rope flow, such a simple modality. You can take a rope with you anywhere. I mean, like, yeah, you're gonna look silly, you're gonna stand out like a sore thumb in public, but like, you can just take this guy wherever you go with you, right? So the rope's a phenomenal tool. Now you can do some steel mace or kettlebell flows. I mean, I have a kettlebell rope and a steel mace in my car at all times. I don't always bust them out, but they're there because a lot of the times a simple walk will be my movement snack. Every day at work, I take a 10-minute walk, one, to get out of the factory. I mean, there's a lot of artificial lights, chemicals floating around in there. It fucks with my brain. I'm like, okay, I need a break. I need to recenter myself. I need to ground myself into the moment. So I take a 10-minute walk, go out into nature for a minute. There's like a little trail down at the end of the street near work, and that's my movement snack. A simple walk will do. Like, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. These are just some ideas. And then movement snacks for specific areas. I mean, in the app itself, we have our spinal reset for back health. We have our SBS for shoulder mobility. We have our hips don't lie for hip flexibility. And I recently put I didn't actually call it for this one, but it didn't say anything about, in the app, it doesn't say anything about warehouse workers, but this one I made specifically for myself, where it's a lower, I call it lower body limbo, where it's just some lower body drills that you can do. Because what I found working in a warehouse for a decade of my life is that my upper body is fine, right? Plenty of blood flow happening here. I'm like lifting stuff up off the ground, blah, blah, blah. My lower extremities get stiff and tight. So there's some like hip mobility drills. We do some assisted lunges and stuff. So it's good stuff. So we can start to target specific areas. And if you have specific areas that are bothering you, then we can start to do movement snacks for this, or we can add them, or we can come up with one together. So either leave a comment, or you can bring it to my attention in our next one-on-one meeting. So yeah, this is just some areas we have right now. So okay, let's move on. All right, so let's build our own. I was gonna type this up in real time with y'all, so I gotta. Okay, so the MME workout criteria. Oh, that's not where you go. So for anybody who isn't familiar, we're talking, we need a squat, a hinge, a press, and a pull of sorts is the criteria that we're working with. And there's probably something like this in the app already. So my guess is this idea is not going to be new. But we're going to do this with a band because, you know, bands are something, again, very simple, very portable. You work at a cubicle, you can just bust this bad boy out. It's a light band, not much tension. So let's build a movement snack with this criteria. Oh, I forgot a couple things. One single arm, one single leg. Okay. So let's do this. And here, we'll even take us a step further. We got a tweaky knee, limited shoulder range of motion, and what else do we have going on? Slight back pain. All right, easy. Okay, so now with all this information, we know what a squat is, right? A hip hinge is is like a deadlift. Press can be this, it can be a push-up, and then a pull is like a row, a upright row, or any kind of carry of sorts. So with this in mind, we have a tweaky knee. We'll just call it the left knee. We have limited shoulder mobility or range of motion, so maybe you can't get your arm any higher than this. And then a slight back pain. So with all that in mind and our criteria, again, this is just a workout criteria. You could just dance for 2 minutes. You don't have to do this, but this is a better way, I would say, to improve blood flow into specific areas or all areas of your body. So with that in mind, let's just do a simple, so we got a tweaky knee. We'll start with our squat. Let's just do an assisted body weight squat. So we're gonna I have a countertop right here, which is great. Feel free to do this with me. You don't have to. We're gonna do 12 reps of an assisted body weight squat. The reason we're doing this is because we can control the range of motion we work into with that tweaky knee. We don't have to sit all the way down here. You couldn't even see me. We can work into the range of motion that feels comfortable. So I'm gonna hold onto my countertop. And because of that tweaky knee, I can feel it. My right knee is actually kind of tweaky. Kind of feel something right there. So I'm gonna stop right there and I'm gonna come back up. So that's one. So I'm gonna go right to where I feel the pain and just stay like slightly higher, and then that's two. So now I know where to go to. I'm gonna stop there. Again, we're not breaking world records here. All we're trying to do is just get blood flow into the lower extremities. 4, 5, make sure you breathe. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2 more, 11, oh yeah, 12. All right, now we got to get into our hinge. So we got to do a single leg variant. So what we're going to do is, we're gonna do a kickstand banded good morning. So a kickstand is when you put, if you guys aren't aware, maybe able to see my feet. You see it? No, it doesn't help. There we go. Okay, so we're in a neutral position. We want one foot slightly back, and it's gonna be elevated like that. You see? We're gonna put the band around 1 foot. So we can focus on that. We'll do 6 reps on each side. And we're gonna do a banded good morning. So I'm in a kickstand position. I'm doing my right leg first. So hinging back, all we're doing is trying to feel that stretch in the glutes and in the hamstrings. And then we fire back up. You can just hold here. Take a deep breath in as you go down. 2. And if the kickstand position makes you feel a little uneasy, feel free to hold on to something. That's okay too. One arm, both arms, doesn't matter. That's 3. Again, just till you feel that stretch in the hamstrings and the glutes, and then you come right back up. 4, 5, 6. Now we'll switch sides. Uno. Dos. Tres. Cuatro. Cinco. Seis. All right. So that's a squat. That's our hinge. Now let's do a press. Well, we got limited shoulder mobility. Let me tell you something. That lower back pain feels a little bit easier now because we got stretched out the hips, the glutes, the hamstrings a little bit. My back doesn't feel as bad anymore. But we got limited shoulder mobility. So doing a press is kind of limited. We could try a shoulder press, but we got limited shoulder mobility. Let's not mess around with that. So let's just do some incline push-ups. Okay, so we get in an incline position. Boom. 1, 2. Set up an incline to the position that feels best for you. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I gotta change this mic. This thing is. I apologize for the technical difficulties. 8, 9, 10, 11. Come on. 12. Let's go. Last but not least, we got to do a single arm, and all we have left is our pull. So what we're going to do is we'll get into a staggered stance with the band around both legs. So I'm going to stagger myself like this, pull the band underneath. You see that? I'm going to stagger hands. I'm just going to do 6 rows on each side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Switch sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So I feel good now. And that's just if we're using the MME workout criteria. You know, that's just one way. It's a more efficient way to. It's a more efficient way to get blood flowing into our body rather than like dance. Dancing would do the same thing, but this is more isolated and more focused. All right. What do we get into next? Now, integration. Let me bring this back up. Integration. So if you're new to movement snacks, maybe most of you are already doing it. But if you're new or if you want to get more in there, like, well, where do we begin? We want to start small, right? We're not here to break world records. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. Like, let's just start small. Begin with one manageable session and gradually increase during, increase duration, sorry, as you become more comfortable. So start with a 1-minute daily practice, just like we did throughout the workshop here. We stopped, put a timer on for 1 minute, we danced around, and we got back to work. Right, do the same thing at work. Put an alarm in your phone. Right, do it right now. Do it right now. If you want to start getting a 1-minute movement second, put an alarm in your phone. Set it for every day. Doesn't matter if you're at work or at home. You're doing the movement stack. Pick a time you know will work either way, and set the alarm in your phone right now. All right. When do I want to do this? Well, I usually do my movement snacks at 11:30 at work, so I don't really do it at home. Which after this means I'm gonna have to do another movement snack now, since and I'm going to label this thing movement snacks. Can you guys see that? 11:30 a.m. movement snacks. Right there. Save. Boom. See? That's simple. Cultivate intuitive awareness. So listen to your body. Listen to your body. Listen to the aches and pains in your body, and it will tell you when it's time to move and groove. Listen to your body. If you are sitting down and your body starts to get achy and painful, or you start moving more, twitching and fidgeting, that's a sign. Your body's telling you it wants to move. The body's communicating to the brain. Now it's up to you to be intuitive to recognize when your body is like, yo, bruh, get up off your ass. Another thing we could do is link with routine activity. So pair this movement snack with an established daily habit you already have. All right, so maybe you have a pre-lunch routine. Right, so you tell your boss you're going to lunch. You get in the car, you drive to the store, you get your lunch. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to tell our boss we're going to lunch. We're going to do our movement stack, and then we're going to get in the car. So we're going to go outside like we're going to the car. We're going to sit right next to the car, and then we're going to do 1 minute of dancing. Yeah, right in the middle of the parking lot where you can look silly as fuck. Even better. Even better. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. Do it in a way that makes you feel safe and comfortable. Like go to the bathroom first. Or maybe every morning you have a 25-minute drive into work. You get to work, and you put your lunch in the break room, and then you go to the bathroom. While you're in the bathroom in a safe space, do a movement snack real fast. And you have more of a public bathroom, we'll figure that out. If you have specifics, nuances to this stuff, we can talk about it in our next one-on-one meeting. Set reminders. We just did it, right? We just did it. We just set an alarm in our phone for the movement snacks we're going to do daily. Doesn't matter if it's the weekend. Doesn't matter if you have off. Doesn't matter if you're on vacation. I said what I said. Doesn't matter if you're on vacation. Do that 1 minute movement snack, baby. We want to establish a foundational habit for our mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being, baby. Come on now. And last but not least, let's embody the practice. Embody it. Adapt these tips to fit you, your schedule, and preferences for sustainability. Conclusion, recap. I don't really know if there's anything I need to recap. I've said the same thing like 15 times. I think y'all get it by now. And so where to begin? We just talked about it. Start small. Start small. If you have specifics, because I saw that there's a question about knees. I guess my own knee pain triggered something within one of you. I'll get to work on that. I'll make some, we'll talk, bring it to our next meeting. If you have knee pain, bring it to our next meeting, because everyone's knee pain is going to be a little bit different. Like what causes it, stuff like that. Bring it to our next meeting and we'll come up with one for you. But in the meantime, I will start to come up with some movement snacks to put in the app. What I want to recommend to y'all is you can probably find this on Amazon now if you don't have one of these already. It's a, what do they call this? The guy I bought this from called it a voodoo floss band, but you could probably just find like a compression band. I forget what this is called. Hold on. Compression band. Just throw a joint pain in there. No, we're not talking about those. No, none of this shit. Let me try typing this in. What just happened? Okay, yeah, you could just type that in. The voodoo floss band. Find whichever one needs to fit your financial situation and buy one of them. Fantastic for knee pain. And we can start to do movement snacks with just this guy on your knees. Oh my God, it'll feel way better. Okay. Yeah, so then, okay, a couple of the other questions I saw while we were going through this. Differences between movement snacks and workouts. Well, if that wasn't covered already, simply put, the difference really is movement snacks are ways we can integrate movement into our daily routines without disrupting that. Like, so think about it. If you're at work and you want to get a workout in to establish the same thing, an hour-long workout is going to disrupt your daily routine, but a 1 minute movement snack won't. You can fit that in, but an hour movement, an hour exercise session is probably better off, depending on what you do for a living, before or after work, right? I don't know what to do. We kind of talked about that too. But again, start small. Do 1 minute of dance. And like, this is where y'all, you have to allow your mind to chatter in the way it's going to chatter. When I think about what I do at work now, so I mean, I have a relatively speaking active job, but like I will dance and stuff like that. Like I said, I'll sway and move my body while I'm working. If I would have did that 6 or 7 years ago when I started doing the thing I'm doing now, then I would have felt stupid. I would have thought everyone was judging me, all the things. And so let your mind chatter and do it anyway. Right? Because like that question, or that statement, I don't know what to do. What I'm sensing from it is that you are concerned what other people are going to think, other people's judgments. But look inward at that. Isn't it your own judgment that is blocking you from actually doing it? Maybe you like to dance already, but the reason you don't dance or groove in public a little bit more because you're worried about what other people think. Now, remove the other people for a minute. And my question is, what do you think? What do you think? If you think you like it and you want to do it, then what's stopping you? Other people's judgments? Let me invite you to explore this for a minute. Other people's judgments are really just what we think they think. When we're worried about what other people think about us or what how people are judging us, what we're really saying is we're worried about what we think they think about us. Sit with that. It might not make sense right now, but just let that land. Write that down if you need to. Other people's judgments, or what we perceive as other people's judgments, are what we think. So we are projecting our own judgments, you see what I'm saying, onto the other person. And it's bouncing off them and coming back to us. And we're absorbing that. We're absorbing essentially our own judgment. Now, doesn't mean that like Susie at work isn't judging the shit out of you. But what that means is she is mirroring back to you your own judgment. Now, if you can remove your own judgment for a moment and just do the dancing thing, or maybe you have to move through the judgment, right? Moving that energy, move through the judgment, let Susie judge you. And do that over and over and over again until it becomes a habit where judgment no longer stops you. And then your own judgmental patterns will slowly dissolve or dissipate. Or you'll get to the point where, at the very least, you'll notice the judgmental patterns go by. Because you can feel right now, like, I really want to do this. You have the desire to dance more at work or whatever it is. To like break up movement snacks with a little bit of dance. Put on a good song, boogie a little bit, or maybe at home. Right? Like, okay, so, and we can remove Susie for a minute and just think about, why don't you do this at home? Because the same patterns might come up, or they're different, where it's like, I feel stupid. I look stupid. Susie's not there to project you what you think she thinks onto you anymore. Now you're just left with what you think you think. Let me just say that differently because that just sounded confusing. Your own judgment. Be present for that judgment. Be the space holder for that judgment. And move through it. Last question was weight loss. Can this help with weight loss? I mean, sure, but this isn't something to do because of weight loss. That if you're doing movement snacks with the sole purpose of weight loss, then you are moving from an egoic, I have to work more place. We're moving from an outside in place. You don't have to work harder to lose weight. Remember, this is an inside out job. That goes for weight loss. If you're performing more movement snacks, you're integrating more movement snacks in your day for the sole purpose, and you have to sit with the fact that you may be doing this or thinking this way. If you're moving from that place of, I want to do movement snacks more to lose weight quicker, you're moving from an egoic state of being. Your energy is coming from that of, I have to work harder because I'm not good enough as I am. Not I am whole and complete now. And movement snacks will only enhance that. You're more focused on an outcome, and you're doing it for an outcome, which is the doer doing it for an outcome, rather than being present and feeling into the energy in your body. Like, I just want to move my body more, baby. Not for any other outcome other than because it feels good. Again, if you're in that state right now where it's like, I feel judged and all that kind of stuff, like, be with that and move through it. I understand. Like, I see you. I am not coming from a place of judgment myself. I am not coming from like a holier than thou place as I say these things. Last summer, I started to work out at parks nearby. I don't have a yard to work out in, but I like working out outside. I like being out in the sun. I like being out in nature. I like using the time to ground myself into the earth as well. And when I started to do it, I thought everybody around me was judging me. All the cars going by, all the people walking by, because like they're all public places. I can't hide. And the beautiful thing was I was able to channel that energy into the workouts and start to remove myself from the judgment for a moment. I could see it. Like, the judgmental thoughts would go by. I'm like, oh my God, there they are. But like, the person driving by in the car, like, I don't actually know what they think. So what I'm doing is I'm projecting what my own judgment onto them, and it's bouncing back to me because what they actually think is irrelevant. I don't know. I can never really know, but I don't know what it is. So my own judgment was bouncing back to me. They were mirroring back to me without even knowing. And I got to hear all my own judgmental thoughts. The judgmental thought that look at this weirdo over there working out with his kettlebells in a park. You know, he's going to ruin the field. These are all the thoughts I had. He's going to ruin the field with his kettlebells. One of the kids are going to get hurt when they come out here to play soccer. You know, and then the more and more I heard these thoughts, I'm like, okay, hold on. Nobody's around even saying this to me. Where's this coming from? Sure, maybe some of these people would actually have those thoughts, but let's go a layer deeper. This is my judgment. These are my judgmental thoughts. I just got to hold the space for those and move through them, because I knew working out outside was a habit I wanted in my life. I knew it expanded me. Right? Sure, I might look silly and stupid to other people, but man, do I feel on top of the world when I'm out there working out. Like, in so many different ways. I get to set examples for people walking by. Like, sure, people might think I'm silly, but there might be that one person that sees me training, like, that's inspiring, and that one person can fuel me. Does it always? No, but it's something to keep in the back of my mind. So notice those thoughts and go a layer deeper. What are you feeling? So can this help with weight loss? Sure. But if you're moving from that space, it won't. Because you're focused on the doing. You're egoically trying to manipulate and control your outcomes. And we're moving away from that paradigm. This is an inside out game. Shift your energy. And that can be through movement stacks. Weight loss will follow. Thank you all so much for being here today for our Movement Snack Masterclass. If you have any more questions, please bring it to our next one-on-one meeting, or you can drop it in the Discord server where we can dive into it a little bit more. I'm going to wrap it up there, y'all. I don't want to take up too much more of your time because we're already a little bit past time, but thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you for holding this space with me. I love you all, and I will see you guys next time. Wait, where's the thing? All right, cool. There we go. Cut that. And that's